Duet is a highly anticipated hybrid action RPG gacha game featuring a dual narrative, but contrary to most gacha games, not only does it offer multiple weapon layouts and a free switching between melee and ranged weapons, no, it also does not have any RNG to your character builds. No substat RNG at all, nada, niente. But before we actually talk about how we build characters and teams, I do want to quickly point out how much of a glow up this game actually has had. And it really has only been 5 months since the last CBT, and within the first 5 minutes of entering the game, not only did they rework the entire starting scene, they improved so much on lighting and overall graphics, it is actually really impressive. Just look at the water, the atmosphere. I was actually blown away by this, as I did not expect it within such a short span of time. So props to the devs here. That said, with the graphical glazing out of the way, let's talk about how we actually build characters and teams, how we set up the demon wedges and how to farm weapons, because they are not only available in the game's gacha system. In fact, you can craft every single weapon in the game, even the signature weapons. Before we get into the video, a short disclaimer for legal reasons. This video is in fact sponsored by duetnightabyss, many thanks for that, and all info provided is based on the current CBT2 and hence also subject to change. With the CBT2, they added the ability to actually choose which of the 2 main characters you want to play, and hence, after logging in, we now get to choose our protagonist, cute girl or male. After this incredibly difficult decision, we have a little nap in a snowstorm in the middle of nowhere, and because this is not actually a review, but a character build guide, let's skip directly a few hundred hours into the future and let's first talk about what these terms actually mean and how we can obtain them. The game features various melee and ranged weapons such as swords, greatswords, polearms, katanas and whips for the melee weapons, and shotguns, dual pistols, bows, granite launchers and assault rifles for the ranged weapons. With the CBT2 however, 2 new weapon types have been added as well. As per usual, weapons come in various rarities and all weapons can be obtained in various ways. For example through commissions, the obligatory gacha system and most importantly, crafting. Every weapon in the game can be crafted, and that does include all of the 5-star gacha weapons. Speaking of gacha and weapons, on a side note, all gacha weapons are guaranteed after 80 pulls, so that means there is no 50-50 you can lose to. Regardless of that however, to be able to craft a weapon, we first have to obtain the weapon's respective blueprint from commissions in the form of a secret letter, which we can obtain after fighting at least 3 waves within any commission mode. After obtaining said letter, we then can take on covered commissions, which allows us to unlock and select one of the 3 reward options, which includes a possible weapon blueprint. After obtaining the weapon blueprint, we can then craft the respective weapon at the Lunosmith by collecting the required materials, which we can obtain yet again either by commissions or from defeating bosses. These weapons as well as the characters can then be strengthened, and aside from the usual level them up and ascend them, we also have the equipment system referred to as the demon wedge system in this game, which means demon wedges are our equipment and they are not subject to RNG. You can freely farm them at no stamina cost in their respective commission domains, and their main and substats are fixed as well. There are 5 types of demon wedges: character demon wedges, melee weapon demon wedges, ranged weapon demon wedges, and again demon wedges for melee and ranged consonance weapons. A little bit more on that later on. All wedges also come in 5 different rarities: grey, green, blue, purple and later on golden, and except for the latter they can all be farmed in the aforementioned farming stages. However, golden ones must be crafted and their respective blueprints need to be obtained from the level 100 farming stages. These demon wedges can provide various stats, but some of them may also provide changes to how a weapon actually functions. Like these ones for example, which change the charged attacks of their respective melee weapon they are equipped into. Every demon wedge can be upgraded and amplified to increase their power, and using track shift modules we can also change their tracks. If you have had a keen eye and already spotted these runes here, you might wonder what that is. Well, some slots feature a specific so-called track indicated by this rune or sign. This basically means you want to equip a Demon Wedge with the same track into the slot, as doing so will reduce the maximum tolerance needed, and not doing so will increase the tolerance needed, where tolerance is basically our loadout. Leveling a Demon Wedge will increase the required tolerance by the Demon Wedge, well, usually at least, while also increasing the stats they provide. Lastly, once one type of Demon Wedge has been obtained, they can be reused across multiple characters or weapons simultaneously. And with that said, let's talk about how we build our characters, and let's do so at the example of Lynn. Just because I really like her. Lynn is a ranged character who focuses on dual pistols and consumes sanity to cast enhanced damage. Using her ultimate skill, she can enter a stance, which will grant her increased attack speed and damage for every shot while consuming sanity. This also means the longer we can stay in the stance, the stronger she will be, and hence we want to make sure she has enough sanity to do so, while not giving up too much damage, that is. We can use various Demon Wedges on her character to make sure she gains sufficient attack, crit rate, crit damage, and of course sanity. We can also do the same for her melee weapon, dual pistols and Consonance weapon. And speaking of which, what actually is a Consonance weapon? It's a good question. Some characters have a character-specific, non-changeable, non-upgradable signature weapon, such as Lynn. When using her ultimate, she will always switch to this weapon and hence also utilize this weapon's stats instead of the other equipped ones. This means equipping the right Demon Wedges in this weapon is important to get as much damage out of her ultimate as possible. We can do this by equipping attack speed, for example, to accelerate the time at which she gets stacks from her ultimate, as well as sanity restoration, and of course damage shouldn't be missed as well. There's one other important thing I actually have not talked about so far, but if you look closely, you might have noticed I haven't moved an inch during her ultimate. This is not because I didn't want to. Her ultimate locks her actually in place, which is the trade-off for the strong damage gain she gets. And because of this, team building is quite important. When looking at Lynn, we want to make sure we have enough survivability to be able to sustain through possible damage we take, or even better, not get hit in the first place. We would also appreciate any possible damage buffs we can obtain. This, for example, is where Daphne could come in super handy. Not only will she provide passive healing and an attack buff for us, she will also grant us an additional 40% crit chance when deployed as a combat partner. We can now use Hellfire in our second combat partner slot, who is able to taunt enemies and increase the attack of our Lynn. However, with both Daphne and Hellfire providing attack buffs, we now would get a little bit oversaturated on attack, and since both Lynn and Hellfire are also pyro characters, we have another possibility here instead of Daphne. We could play, for example, Fushu instead, who is able to provide faster skill execution, provides increased skill damage, a shield healing, and also most importantly restores sanity to the team, which can simply massively increase the time we are able to spend within Lynn's ultimate. And with that said, we are at the end of the video. I hope this video gave you a good overview on character and team building within Duet Night Abyss. Many thanks again to DNA for sponsoring this video, and with that, I wish you a great day. Peace.